Well, ladies and gentlemen, consider a rivalry renewed. It's the Danvers Falcons and the Peabody Tanners in boys soccer action here from Coley Lee Field at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. I am Bernard Parisi of Peabody Access TV, the self-proclaimed voice of Tanner girls ice hockey and also occasional sideline reporter for Tanners football. That being said, we'll bring you both teams. The Peabody Tanners coming to this game. They are 11-3 on the year. They have an 8-3 conference record. They have several 11th and 12th senior and junior year students. Only two of their players on their roster are underclassmen, them being Kyle Joyce and Victor Maciel. Tanners are coming to this game. They're riding a 4-game win streak, 52 goals for over the span of 14 games, and only 18 goals allowed by their two netminders, that being Will Machado and Dominic Cunha. The same cannot be said, however, for the Danvers Falcons. They're coming in 2-7-3 on the year, a 2-5-2 conference record. Their rankings in the standings in the Northeast League, Peabody is ranked 4th and Danvers is ranked 11th in the middle of the pack. On the year, they have only 13 goals for, and they've given up 25 on the year. Overall, from what I was able to see from the game stats on maxpreps.com, that the main key for the Danvers Falcons has been in net. I don't have their roster sheet with me at the moment, however. Their key to staying in this game, in my opinion, will rely on the net, because the Tanners offense, like I said, they're outgaining the Falcons in goals almost 3 times as many goals. Almost 4 times as many goals. So the Falcons will try to have to, I'd say, probe the Peabody defense, try to find their opportunities when they can. If not, play really tight defense, and hopefully their goaltender will have to bail them out of this game if that's the case. On the Peabody side of the ball, they've been riding high, obviously, like I said before, 4 consecutive wins. They're going to try to keep the offensive pressure on. They'll probably looking for a blowout victory over the Falcons today. You're going to have to bear with me on this one, folks. This is my first ever announcing soccer game, so I'll give it my best here. So that being said, just a week ago on this very field, the Danvers Falcons knocked off the Peabody Tanners 14-13 on the gridiron in live football action brought to you by Peabody Access TV. Peabody Tanners will look to avenge that loss in some form with trying to extend their win streak to 5 games in a row. However, the Falcons come in hungry to try to end their losing streak and get their season back on track. So we take a look at the Peabody High School bench. So being shown right now is the Peabody High School Fall Spirit Wear. Go online to the PVMHS Spirit Wear Fall 2019.itemorder.com to support the Peabody High School class of 2021 by purchasing their Fall Spirit Wear from their online store. They have a variety of gear ranging from polos, t-shirts to sweatpants, shorts, sweatshirts, jackets, and more for both adults and youth. Available accessories also include winter hats, blankets, bags, totes, and chairs. Online store closes Friday, October 18th. Go online and get your Peabody Tanner fall merchandise. Support the Peabody Tanners class of 2021. Not only them, but also go on and support the Peabody Tanners athletic program as a whole. As we are just a few moments away from the start of game time, first half action, 40 minutes are set on the clock. So, like I said before, just to make clear, I only have the Peabody boys roster on hand at the moment. Was unable to acquire the Danvers roster, but just to avoid some confusion, Peabody will be dressed in all blue with white sleeves. And the Danvers Falcons on your screen right now are going to be in white with blue shorts, but if you can't remember that, just look for the pink socks of the Danvers Falcons. Pink being worn for this month, October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
As
As we're taking a look at the Tanners starters. One scratch for the Tanners tonight. That's going to be Costa Persalis. I spoke to him briefly when I was acquiring the roster in the pregame. He took a hit to the head in a recent game. He is going to be on the sideline. He is diagnosed with a concussion. He's wearing sunglasses on the bench at the moment. So he is a scratch for tonight's game. Hope he gets well soon. Good friend of mine from my senior year at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. Ball's kicked off. Danvers, as the away team, has first possession. So the way to keep away, trying to play keep away with the Tanners, as the Tanners nearly quadruple the Falcons in goal differential. As the Tanners will take it away, kick it long pass downfield, and that will go out of play. This game is being brought to you live by Peabody Access TV. Peabody Access TV brings you all of your local high school sporting events, also many other different events such as town hall meetings, school committee meetings. And as such, ball is kicked off near the Bull logo at the 50-yard line for the Tanners, as Falcons rushing quickly up field, trying to really play keep away, as a tumble down near the 20-yard line. And the Tanners will take possession. Kicked in, nice line drive kick. Popped up in the air. That ball can take a lot of odd bounces. As number 17, Cairo Delafour kicks it in. Big scrum there with number 30 of the Tanners, Edward Santos, taken there by 21, Banangoy Kianga. Nice moves, and this one will go out of bounds. So Danvers will not be allowed to take possession here. Pardon me, that will be the Tanners, as it is immediately stolen away. Number 22, Nicholas Sablone for the Tanners. This one's thrown in, but head-butted away from a couple Danvers defenders, but there's a race at near midfield to get it. Danvers will go to get it, as their own goalkeeper will have his first opportunity. Yep, that is the Danvers goalkeeper will have his first opportunity to play it. Taken up at midfield by Victor Maciel. He's going to race down into the corner to get it, shadowed there by a Danvers defender. Ball goes out, and Tanners will be allowed to take possession and kick it back in. That is Cairo Delafour. Long toss in, trying to get some scrum at the front of the net, but the Danvers goalkeeper will take it out. Looking for some open room for one of his players. He will chuck it as far as he can to midfield. Butted in. Danvers trying to just get past midfield. They haven't seen the other side of the 50 in quite some time, since near the beginning of the game. Nice move around a Tanner defender, just trying to bounce back and recoil, try to get something going. Tossed up ahead. Ben Kemp, captain of the Tanners, number 4, kicks it back in. Over to get it is Maciel again with Delafour, and the Falcons will try to move it again, just trying to break through that Tanner defense. Only two of their entire roster are underclassmen, them being Kyle Joyce and Victor Maciel, 9th and 10th graders. The rest of their team are juniors and seniors. As 43 of the Tanners, that being Kyle Joyce, just mentioned, kicks it back in. He's racing there with their Danvers player, trying to play a little physical, tripped up almost. He's looking for some kind of call. As we take a look there at Tanner's number 22, Nicholas Sablone. The rain continues to fall here in Peabody, Massachusetts. The rain may continue to be a factor, as this is played on a turf field. Could get rather slippery for both teams out there, but both teams don't seem to be very deterred by the elements. On in, and Whistle blows, and the Danvers goalkeeper will have a chance to kick this one out. So the Tanners coming to this game, Tanners already have their tournament berth locked up at an 11-3 record, 8-3 in the conference overall in the Northeast League. Danvers fighting for some form of life. They're 2-7-3 on the year. Tanners going back down to get it. That's Mayseal again. Into the corner they go. So both teams taking their time. The Tanners, however, playing more aggressively on the offensive attack. Danvers kind of trying to feel their way through the Tanner defense. With 34:50 to go in the first half of this 15th game for the Tanners, and this one is butted out of play. So back over to get it will be Kyle Morphus, number 10 for the Tanners. Morphus, one of their senior captains, midfielder. Tanner's gonna take a corner kick, trying to get something to the front of the net. Thrown in by Kemp. Went wide and up over. It wouldn't have had a chance on the net as it went over the crossbar. There seemed to be a little confusion there. A new ball was kicked onto the field as the Danvers goalkeeper went back to retrieve the other one. As we can take a look at number 21, that is Banangoy Kianga of the Tanners, and number 50, Victor Mayseal. So over by the Danvers bench will go Sablon, trying to get one out. Both teams taking their time. One thing to love about soccer is the suspense. Both teams like to take their time and try to find their way through the defense and get the big goal. True fans really love the suspense of an ever so growing popular game. This one's kicked up to near midfield to Kyle Morphus. Long toss, and Joyce will have to go down, and this one's going to go well out of play. 33 minutes to go in the first half. As we take a look there, Kyle Joyce, a sophomore striker. With the season nearing its end, with the Tanners already having their tournament berth locked up, one can only think of looking forward to next season when the Tanners will have a number of their seniors graduating. Their roster will be more than 50% underclassmen and seniors. As this one's long tossed in, butted in by Cairo Delafour. Got to admire the aggressiveness he plays with. Kicked away. The goalkeeper has to dive on it. As if he had let that one go by him, it looked like Mayseal would have had an open net chance. Long kick ahead. Kid's got a good leg. Signed him on to be a punter on the Danvers Falcons football team. As both teams don't seem to be letting the rain deter them at all. Most part, the short sleeves are out. As there's number 31 of the Tanners, Bjorn Scherda. Midfielder, a junior for the Tanners. Got to admit, I love that name, Bjorn. As this one's kicked up and into the Tanner bench area, out of play. So as I said before, the scratches for the Tanners there, only one. Costa Persalis, a junior defender, number 34. He told me he took a hit to the head earlier in the season. He's out with what I can assume is a concussion. He's got sunglasses on when I saw him, even though there's no sun out at the moment, folks. But he is out with, I can guess, is probably a high-grade concussion. We wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully he comes back soon as the ref's whistle blows. A couple Tanners getting back up to their feet as we're going to see number 21 of the Tanners, Banangoy Kianga, limp to the bench a little bit. He might have taken a low hit from a Danvers defender. But he's kind of semi-sprinting his way to the bench, so we'll hope to see him back pretty soon. Long kicked in. Taken by Mayseal. And then over to Jake Howard, number 24. And this one goes out of play as we're going to see Delafour throw it back in. And once again, kicked in, but right at the Danvers defense. Almost headbutted in by Jake Howard. He's throwing himself all over the field looking for some kind of opportunity. Good defensive play by the Tanners, because if that ball went by, then the Danvers offensive player would have had a wide open one-on-one chance with the goalie keeper. So I can't quite see the number of the goalkeeper from here. I can say it is either senior number 1 Will Machado or also senior number 13 Dominic Cunha. This one goes out of play. This player is moving rather gingerly, trying to strategize quickly before the play begins. Pushed off there was a PBD offensive player. Danvers kicked, almost kind of kicked the Danvers player in the shin. Gladly he avoided that. I'm sure that would have been a flag of some kind. Kicked in front of the net, and it's a Tanner goal. Make that number 43, Kyle Joyce, makes it 1-0 Tanners with 29:26 to go in the half. Saw the play set up from the bottom right corner of what would have been the bottom right corner of your screen. It was fed across, beautiful pass, and right in front of the net. Almost the point-blank shot there by Kyle Joyce, the sophomore striker. It is 1-0 Peabody. Tanners immediately trying to put the offensive pressure back on. Here they come. Edward Santos. Long toss up to the goal scorer Joyce, and the ref's whistle will blow, so we'll have some kind of call coming up. As we're still seeing a few fans matriculating their way into the stands. Most of them standing, however, as these bleachers are, well, they're rather wet today. A little soaked from the downpouring rain that we were having for a little bit. It looks like it has lightened up a little bit, actually. As we're going to see number 17, Cairo Delafour, trying to feed it in. Delafour has been all over the field. Here's Maciel, called his name quite a few times. He's moving, trying to get in, but it is kicked away. Good defensive play by the Danvers Falcons to stop an offensive rush there. As we're going to see the Tanners will send it back in. That's Kyle Morphus again. Head butted away from his own goal was a Danvers player. Up near the 30-yard line. That was Sherda pushing it back down. Kept in. Beautiful kick to keep it in by Morphus. So we're going to see the Falcons rush to their goalkeeper, trying to get some kind of offensive rush going. Very rarely have they seen the opposite side of the 50 in this match so far. 27:41 remaining in the half. Nice kick to the 40-yard line. Kicked, kept in. These Tanners have been really largely outperforming the expectations so far this season. So this one goes back down and will go out of play. As 21 of Danvers will go to toss it in. Playing catch with number 12 of the Danvers Falcons, trying to deceive the Tanner defense, that being Morphus. First real offensive chance the Falcons have had today. Kicks, and it is blocked aside by a Tanner defender. Over to get it is their goalkeeper. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was, I saw the 13 on the back of the jersey. That was Dominic Cunha. Will be in net. Thrown in by the Falcons. Whistle blows, and it looks like the way that Seblone is talking to the official, it will be the Danvers ball, and it will be. Takes his time, throws it in. Good play by the Tanner goalkeeper to stop that kick. Nice long toss ahead. Up over to Joyce. Trying to be very communicating with his team. As Tyler Sermon on the field for the Tanners. First time we've called his name on the afternoon. So one can only admire a sport such as soccer. I can only imagine the kind of athleticism and endurance that it takes to play such a game, running back and forth all so often. It's more of a physical game than people realize, as this one's head-butted in by number 3 of the Falcons. 9 takes his own head swing at it. Long toss, and if the ref's whistle hadn't blown, Joyce may have had a chance at his second in the afternoon. Also, one more thing to admire is these players playing in the very cold conditions of here in the North Shore, especially in this kind of rain. This one's booted in. Good deep kick, but there was none of his teammates there to receive it as Cunha will come out. Thinking, how am I going to get this one upfield? Decides to boot it high into about the 40. So Peabody Tanner football, take notice. If you need a punter tonight in tonight's 7 o'clock game, you might want to consider Cunha. Long kick deep. Head butted in by number 10 of the Falcons, and Cunha will come out once again. Line drive kick. He hits, I believe, Ben Kemp in the chest. Over to get it there is Sherda. I believe it will be Tanner Ball coming up as Sherda will go to send this one in. Tanner's leading 1-0 with 23:59 to go in the first half of this 15th match for the Tanners. This one's thrown deep. Up at center field, and Joyce will let this one go down as racing down to get it is Mayseal. Make that Edward Santos, my mistake. One's out of play, and it will be Danvers' ball to start this possession. So this Tanner team coached by head coach Stan McKean, assistant coaches Steve Fall and Scott Myers. What a good job that they have done this year, the 11-3 Tanners, keeping their team focused on the prize. They already have their tournament berth locked up. Just playing for the sake of their record at the moment and probably for proper seeding in the playoffs as Danvers racing back upfield. Sherda playing tight defense on his man. He has to kick it back into the middle. Drive. What a save, Cunha. Diving save by the Tanner netminder. He boots this one deep. You can see the look of resilience on his face. He's not getting caught up in the moment of making a remarkable save. He's just focused on getting this ball upfield and helping his teammates put more points on the board. The official whistle blows, and Danvers will start from about the 45-yard line. So this game's being brought to you by Peabody Access TV. I'd like to thank all of our camera operators, especially our camera operator down on the sideline in the rain. She actually volunteered to go down there in the rain and help out and film, as this one's stopped by Cunha. And he throws this one deep upfield. It has taken off the chest of a Danvers defender. Big fight for the ball there, and they're going to call Santos. These players playing in conditions that are rather unfavorable, but however on the North Shore, these are kind of expected conditions. '17 of Danvers boots it in, trying to get it close to a net so that it can maybe be deflected in. Kicks it hard and can't get it. Picked up high, and it will go to center. Joyce headbutts it in. He's really been a physical presence all over the field, that Kyle Joyce. Over to get it is 24, Jake Howard, one of their senior captains, midfielder number 24. Kept in. Long toss ahead. Long toss, race to get it by Danvers, moving on in, shadowed and taken away by the Tanner defense. Good play there by, I believe, number 5, Tyler. That would be Tyler Sermon, junior defender. Strips him of the ball from behind. So yes, I can officially say, yep, that is definitely Dominic Cunha, number 13 of the Tanners. So I finally was able to get a good look at the back of his uniform. This one's booted deep by Ben Kemp to about the 45. Joyce playing that 40-yard line ever so carefully and expertly. Maciel sends it. Looks like Jake Howard might have been shaken up a little bit there on the play. Long toss ahead. Here come the Tanner defense, and it will go wide. As we'll see Cunha looking to line this one up, trying to find some open room for his teammates to work. From my experience with numerous classmates, friends of mine who graduated the class of 2018 who played on the Tanner soccer team for all 4 years of their high school career, I can say that when it comes to a sport like this, these guys are definitely a tight-knit bunch. Not only do they work together on the field, they spend all their time together off the field. So the chemistry amongst these players, and that including the Danvers sideline, is very high. That can only be a benefit to both benches. It's almost a brotherly bond between some of these players. As this one's kicked out, Danvers will throw this in quickly, but it is headbutted by Sherda. Speaking of, he goes back to get it. And this one will go back out to the Tanner bench. Thrown in again. Nice steal there by Sablon. I apologize if I am pronouncing anyone's names incorrectly. If anyone I know hears this broadcast and if I'm pronouncing their names incorrectly, please, I do encourage you to reach out and tell me if I'm mispronouncing them. To the 30-yard line, falling down was Sermons, taken away by the Falcons. Race to get it. Showing off the speed there. Kicked in off the body of 22, Sablon again. Been one of the top defenders of the Tanners so far today. As Oscar Meja, number 11. Sherda. Up to Morphus. Taking his time, looking for a path through as number 9, Christopher Fazzolo, goes back down to get it. And Danvers will take possession, trying to play keep away once again with the Tanners. That is their main strategy. The Tanners, however, taking their time on the offensive rushes, knowing that if they just play tight defense from here on out, they should have a solid chance of coming out of here with their 12th win of the year. As we'll see Morphus, I believe, line this one up to throw it back in. So we get a beautiful shot of the Tanner midfielder down on the field, Kyle Morphus. Sideline shot there, thrown in. Danvers takes it, but here comes Maciel again, but he will give it back up high to Sermon. Sermon gives over to Harrison Fisher, who in turn gives it over to Dallafour again. This one's going to go out of play. Dallafour will throw this one back in. Over to Harrison Fisher as Danvers will try to recoil and move back up on the offensive rush. Thrown into 11 of the Falcons. So if you're just joining us here today, we'll note the Tanners are in all blue and the Falcons will wear white with blue shorts, but if you can't remember that, just look for the pink socks, pink being this month Breast Cancer Awareness Month in October. This one's kicked out of play. This one's thrown in by 21 of the Falcons. So this has been one of the first true October days that we've had here this month, or this 2019 October year. It's been a lot of 55, high 50, 60-degree days so far. It's one of the first days that I can truly say it really feels like October. The wind chill, the cold. Feels good to be living on the North Shore in Peabody, Massachusetts. As Morphus will look again to throw it in. This is a good chance for an offensive opportunity. But that is immediately shut off as almost on cue, and this one sent back and out of play at the Danvers bench. So 2 players to highlight, 3 players to highlight so far as we hit 15-16 to go in the first half of the game. Kyle Joyce, Kyle Morphus, and Cairo Dallafor. They've been all over the field. We've called their names more than once today as Fazolo goes back over, has it kicked away from him, however. Taken out of the play there by the Tanners. Bjorn Scherda. Falling down, player goes down, kind of getting up rather gingerly for the Tanners, kind of limps back up field. Race down to get it, Scherda. Showing off the speed and range as he takes a bit of a tumble. I believe that's going to be Tanner Ball to pass it back out. Bjorn Scherda, add him to that list. He's been all over the field as a midfielder. He's been rushing back to play tight defense so far. He's stopped quite a few offensive opportunities for the Falcons. So we're going to see Nicholas Sablone send this one back in. Good kick in. Fed up high, and to midfield the Falcons go. So the Tanner program, both boys and girls soccer, has produced numerous college Division I or II or even Division III athletes, many of whom I graduated with. So if they're at all listening to some of their former teammates play, cheers to them. As this one will go up and out of play. Scherda will watch this one go out. To the 30. Danvers looking to get something going. That ball's bouncing all over like a pinball machine. Good keeping over the head kick. 17 of Danvers boots it to about the 45 as it looks like a Tanner took a tumble. Race down to get it. Fazolo behind him. Up in the air, head butted away. Kept in on side. That's Mayseal into the middle. Kick, and it trickles in for the Tanners. I believe it was Victor Mayseal on the goal, and the Danvers goalkeeper cannot like what just happened there. He knew that he missed his angle. So I believe we can probably credit that goal to number 50, Victor Mayseal. 2-0 Tanners here with 13 minutes to go in the first half of game 15 for the Tanners. Game 13 for the Falcons. Or game 13 for the Falcons. I had to check my math there, adding up the number of games in the schedule. I guess there's a reason I didn't do well in math class in high school, folks, as this one is taken by the Danvers goalkeeper, trying to feed it, get something going. Kept in by Morphus, trying to get another offensive rush. As we hit just under 12 and a half to go here in the first half. Kicked in. Here come the Tanners, but it is booted away. And Morphus will try to get it. 11 of Danvers will try to feed it up at midfield. Kick deep. I believe that might have actually been by a Tanner. I think he's just trying to feed his goaltender, try to set up some kind of offensive play. This one's thrown in deep. Over to get it there, Shurda again. Long toss ahead. Here comes Santos, shadowed by 2 defenders, and he has it taken away anyway. So Edward Santos, number 12, a senior striker, or number 30, a senior striker. Shadowed there by 2 defenders. They're keying on him, knowing that he's one of the keys to the Tanner offense. Speaking of Tanner offense, if you're a football fan and you're a fan of the Tanners, go, I believe they're playing in Swampscott, if I'm not mistaken, tonight, the Tanner football team. They're 2-2 on the year. They're fresh off of a 14-13 heartbreaker loss to the, well, none other than the Danvers Falcons last week, as a potential game-winning field goal by the Tanners went wide right with just over 2 minutes to go. The Tanners will look to get back on track tonight at 7 o'clock in Swampscott. As the Tanner offense, here comes Ben Kemp, beating the sidelines, trying to play along the edges. Joyce. Looks like it's going to be Tanner ball. So here's an offensive opportunity for Peabody, as we'll see Dallafor to line this one up. All of his teammates lining up close to the net. Good boot in deep, and it is taken away by their own goalkeeper of the Danvers Falcons. Was unable to acquire a roster beforehand, so I apologize for that, folks. Midfield pass into the middle. He's shot up by 2 Tanners. Good kick and steal by none other than Bjorn Shurda, number 31. Cunha throws it deep to the sidelines. Morphus again. He takes a tumble. Ref's whistle blows, and this will be Tanner ball. Let's take a quick look there at Shurda and midfielder Enko Gorja. I know for a fact that I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, so if someone could correct me on that eventually, if you want to just notify me, that would be perfectly fine. As this one's taken in deep, Tanner's trying to play defense. Goalkeeper's out of his own net, but a good kick to get it out. So Cunha was out of his own net to play it, and it was almost kicked into his net by a Danvers defender, but thankfully his teammates were there to back him up. Thrown in. Santos, the 50, long toss. He's got a man relatively wide open, but that opportunity is shut off quickly. Nice play by Joyce, kicks it on net, tipped, almost went in. The goalkeeper just trying to get back into a rhythm of making some good saves as we're under 10 minutes to go, 8:34 to go in the first half. So it's going to be Morphus to send it in. I got to admit, that's pretty good camera work down there, getting a good shot of the Tanner midfielder, senior Kyle Morphus. Thrown in, but headbutted back down. Got to wonder how they can headbutt it almost 30 yards. I got to admit, I'm impressed by that, folks. I would never be able to play this sport. This one is to the sideline. The way they're signaling, I believe it's going to be Danvers ball. So the rain doesn't quite really seem to be affecting either team, as it's beginning to come down a little bit harder. As we can see it, kind of the reflection in the stadium lights here at Coley Lee Field. The wind is really pushing it. The umbrellas and windbreakers are out in force. As number 8 of Danvers will long toss this one in. Kept in, but barely. 9 of Danvers, shadowed there by 16 Harrison Fisher. field. That is Delafour shadowing there. Danvers trying to get it out. As 24, the Tanners, Jake Howard takes a tumble. Moving back, trying to set something up. There's 7 of Danvers. Almost kept in, but accidentally booted out by Jake Howard. Danvers will try to get another rush going. With 6:28 to go. Sherda. To 12 of Danvers. One of the smaller players on the field today. Santos. Racing over to try to cover up number 3 of Danvers. Can't quite tell, but it looks like he's wearing something on his wrist. It looked like a cast of some kind. I'm probably mistaken, but it didn't look like it was a glove. Number 3 of Danvers, that is. Long toss in. Joyce. Booted there, and Jake Howard will watch this one just go out, knowing that Danvers ball. Number 8 of the Falcons. Getting into the point of the first half where they should try to maybe tack on at least one to cut the lead in half before they go into half. Headed in. Tanner's just playing a little catch, trying to play not too aggressively, not trying to blow the 2-0 lead. Long toss downfield, trying to split the defenders was Danvers. They can't do it. Kick back upfield. Tanner player takes a tumble down in the field. So it will be Peabody ball, I believe. Yes, we'll see Ben Kemp, senior captain, go back to set this one up. The Tanner senior defenders. Long line drive kick, headed in by Morphus. Joyce back down to get it. Almost takes a tumble. Good play by Joyce. From what I can tell you, one of the most skilled players on this team based on the way that, or one of the most offensively skilled players from the way I've seen him play. Morphus to center, Santos. Gets an uneasy kick on this one, it goes wide. This one will be kicked back out by the Danvers goalkeeper. With Edward Santos shadowing a couple Danvers defenders. All players really taking their time, knowing they got the whole field to work with. A lot of time to work with too in the second half eventually, as we hit 3:57 to go in the first half. Up to about the 40. That's Joyce again. Someone takes a big hit at about the 40. Helps him up. Seems to be moving pretty well as he'll go towards the Danvers bench. He'll stay on the field. So it doesn't appear that the rain is really affecting the turf fields. This isn't a dirt field, folks. This is a turf field. I was expecting it to be a little bit more slippery than it is and to affect the level of play from both teams, but however, it has been anything but. Picked up and out of play. This will be, I believe, Danvers ball. 9 of Danvers looking for something. I'll let this one go out so we can get a free kick from the corner. So if you want a goal here for Danvers, this is the opportunity to do it, as he'll line this one up. As all 7 players line up near the line, to the front of the net. Kicked out by the Tanners. Good defensive play by their defenders. Santos. Morphus was trying to get there, can't get it. Our camera operator to the sideline kind of has to scurry her way out of the way of that pass. As we're going to see 22. Nicholas Sablone send it in. Butted in. Santos. Santos through the legs of a Danvers defender, and I believe this will be Peabody ball still. Nope, they're going to say Danvers will line it up. 3 of Danvers will line this one deep. Good line drive kick, headbutt off the top of Sablone's head. Using everything but the hands, folks. As we got another whistle, and I think this is going to be Danvers' ball to kick it in. See if you can see right there, number 3 seems to be wearing something on his right forearm. Not quite sure what it is. I don't think it's a cast. It's not a glove either. Well, one can only wonder what it is. I can only assume if it was a cast, they wouldn't be letting him play. Kicked up high, and Cunha will have to come out and retrieve it as he had a Danvers offensive rush. Bearing down on top of him, long toss. Up to near midfield, Harrison Fisher at the 30, that's Santos. At the 40, playing his way around the defense. 2 of the most offensively talented players on this team are without a doubt Santos and number 43, Kyle Joyce. Nice kick in, head-butted by Howard. Howard will, as we got a late whistle there, looked like the Danvers bench was looking for one, so it's going to be Danvers' ball, I believe. As the clock hits 31 ticks to go in the first half, as I believe a timeout has been taken, probably by Danvers. Both teams will go over to their bench to confer with their coaches. The coaches of the Tanners, head boss Stan McKean, with assistants Steve Fall and Scott Myers. So at the moment, 2-0 on goals scored by Kyle Joyce early in the match, and then later in the first half, Victor Mayseal tacked on another goal of his own, number 50 of the Tanners. So it is 2-0. Throw up the bullhorns. That of the logo at center field is what this team embodies, playing aggressively, charging through the defense. So the clock is at, on the scoreboard, the clock is at 2 minutes. That is not being shown on your screen. However, the scoreboard here at Coley Field signals 2 minutes. I'm guessing that's 2 minutes of added time. If there is one thing that I knew about soccer for a long time, is they will add on additional time. Thrown in, Cunha comes out, fields it. It's kicked in, and that will be, I believe, the end of the first half from Coley Field here in Peabody, Massachusetts. That being said, Tanners 11-3 on the year against the 2-7-3 Danvers Falcons. Peabody holding the 2-0 lead in this ever-important match for both teams. On goals by Kyle Joyce and Vic Mayseal. That being said, we'll be right back with more Tanner soccer action brought to you by Peabody Access TV. I'm Bernard Parisi.
DC Rental has been in business for almost 30 years, offering state-of-the-art radio communications and security camera systems. DC Rentals is able to cater our system, scale it down to any size event, large or small. Our custom-built trailers are designed for fast deployment with full video and communication capabilities. We offer top-of-the-line Motorola and High-Terra dispatch and radio equipment, along with Telex and Zetron consoles. DC Rental's mobile command trailer is also available for special events or emergencies. In addition, we provide individual and group training sessions on all of our equipment, as well as 24-hour customer service. DC Rentals can be reached at 781-289-3000 or on the internet at dcrentals.net. DC Rentals is a proud sponsor of Peabody TV.
Well, folks, it is Fall Spirit Wear Week from Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. Go online to PeabodyMHS Spirit Wear Fall 2019.itemorder.com/sale for Peabody High School Fall Spirit Wear. Support the class of 2021 by purchasing their Fall Spirit Wear. They have a variety of gear available, ranging from polos, t-shirts, sweatpants and shorts to sweatshirts, jackets, and more for adults and youth. Also have available accessories such as winter hats, blankets, bags, totes, and chairs. The online store is only open for a week from today, folks. On October 18th, you will no longer be able to, after October 18th, you won't be able to get this exclusive merchandise. So go online and not only support the class of 2021, but if you're a Tanner fan, go on and support your Peabody High School athletics overall. Peabody High Fall Spirit Wear. Go to this website, PVMHS Spirit Wear Fall 2019.itemorder.com/sale, and get your Tanner apparel. And welcome back to Coley Lee Field from Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. It is 2-0 Tanners as we're just moments away from beginning the second half of this ever-important game for both teams. The Falcons trying to get their season back on track. The Tanners just trying to play for playoff spots. They are at the moment, have their tournament berth clinched. Just a matter of seeding at this point. As we'll see, the rain really continuing to fall even heavier at the moment than it was near the beginning of the game. You can almost see the waves from the wind cascading left to right from the furthest end zone from where this to the left of your screen, from left to right, as we'll see Tanner Kyle-Morphus trying to shield himself from the rain a little bit just before this half starts. The cold appears to be getting a little bit to Cairo Dalfor there. And this half will be the Tanners' turn to move from right to left. And it will be Danvers going left to right as Peabody will get the ball to start the second half. Holding a 2-0 lead on goals by Kyle Joyce, number 43, and Victor Maciel, number 50. So once again, I am Bernard Parisi with Peabody Access TV. This game brought to you by Peabody Access TV, your local network, bringing you all of your local high school sporting events, also including several other events such as town functions, town hall meetings, school committee, and many more. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe one of my bosses told me that we're now being picked up by Apple TV, if I'm not mistaken, and Roku. So go check that out if you're at all interested, as the Tanners will immediately put on the offensive pressure. And this one goes out of play, and it will be Danvers' ball, if I'm not mistaken. Thrown in. So this is the time when the hopes are starting to dim for the Danvers Falcons, down 2-0 against a defense that has been, well, to say stiff would be an understatement. This Tanner defense has been unrelenting. They will not even allow a guy to go past the 50 without giving up a fight, or giving up without a fight. Danvers trying to move it back to midfield, playing the short passing game. Trying to keep away from the Tanners. 11 of Danvers moving. Kicked away by, I believe, Morphus again. Number 1 of Danvers. Kicks it in. It will stay in play. Going down on his face, taking a tumble, was a Tanner. I believe that's going to be number 22, Nicholas Sablone. It's good to see that some fans have made their way out into the stands, albeit with the umbrellas, windbreakers, and blankets for the wet bleachers out in force. As Cunha will line this one up, looking for some way to get the ball upfield, maybe extend this lead by another goal. That's included in this shot is Cunha and number 22, Nicholas Sablone, defender and goalkeeper. As Shurda makes his way into the shot. Taking their time. 37:50 to go as the clock continues to run. I believe a substitution is being made by Danvers. Ref's whistle blows, kicked up deep, off the head of a Tanner offensive rush. That is Dalafor. Santos in a scrum between 3 defenders. He comes out of there with the ball in between 3 defenders. He still finesses his way out of there. Long toss upfield, just trying to get it upfield, burn a little bit more time. However, one can only wonder how many times he can do that. There's still 37 minutes to go, almost over a half hour to go in the half alone. Kicked in by Danvers. Peabody over to get it, that being Kianga. Danvers trying to get something going offensively, still taking their time. They do have 36 minutes to go. They did have they had their offensive opportunities in the first half, albeit the Tanners just had more. Kicked across, and Cunha had to dive out to get it, but he'll have help from Ben Kemp, who will kick this one up into the net, and without a doubt, that will be Denver's ball. Included in this shot is Cunha and Cairo Dallafor. As Danvers will have 2 players down in the corner trying to strategize a little bit as to how they're going to do this. This is a prime offensive opportunity with a free corner kick. As he'll bring in another teammate, that is number 11, trying to strategize there. That's number 10 of Danvers, with the clock winding down a little bit, 35-55. He won't do the long kick in. He will. Headbutted off of a Danvers player, but it will go up and out of play. No, kept in. Good play as he has to kind of slide his way, slip and slide his way to the fence as the rain is really starting to come down in droves now. Long toss. Danvers kind of moving in the wrong direction here. Trying to free up some space. What they need to do to get back into this game is they need to try to free up some open field areas to try to get some kind of offensive rush. The Tanner defense has been really unrelenting. They like to get in close. Long toss ahead. Peabody will go back down to retrieve. That's Kemp again. This will be Danvers' ball to play this one in. So if you're just tuning in, Peabody Tanner is holding a 2-0 lead over the Danvers Falcons in the second half. Now the graphic on the scoreboard graphic on the screen says first. It is, however, just after the beginning of the second half. Long toss. Peabody down to get it. That's Santos. Trying to get his way by, kind of comes up clutching that right ankle a little bit. Might have taken a spike to the ankle. Hopefully he's doing all right himself. As they're going back to retrieve the ball. That is number 4 of the Tanners, Ben Kemp. I believe this will be a free corner kick. Peabody will look to extend their lead to 3. Kemp lines it up. So here we go. Kemp in, butted away. Speaking of, he'll go back down to retrieve his own kick. This one's going to go out of play, and it will once again be Tanner ball, as the last player to touch it was a Danvers defender. On other sports news in Massachusetts, the Peabody Tanners football team is 2-2 on the year. They'll play tonight at 7 in Swampscott. Trying to extend a 3-2 in front of the net. And nothing happening there. Kicked in, off the post. And just inches away from making it a 3-0 game for the Tanners. I believe it was Santos again. The Tanners will once again line up another free corner kick. It's Ben Kemp once again. Kicked in, lined it, and it went way up and over, and I believe the wind may have taken that behind the net as it went up and over. Rather unusual change of direction there, as the Danvers goalkeeper will line up to kick this one out. Line to about the 30, headbutted in. Off the forehead of, I believe it was Morphus again. Nope, make that Cairo Dallafor, my mistake. Tanner's not being tempted to go into those open areas and retrieve it, as Danvers is really trying to free up some space. Race back down. Tanner's got something to defend here. Kicked on a cross, drive on net, and it is covered by Cunha. Thinks about throwing it towards Howard. Thinks otherwise, he will boot this one up and over. That one higher than the third floor of the high school right across from us. As the whistle blows, I believe this will be Danvers' ball. Actually, make that Peabody ball. As we get 31-32 to go in the second half. Kicked up to the Danvers bench. Thrown in. Danvers will take this one out. Long toss. There's one man there just trying to win the race with the Tanners. He kind of splits through, but he takes a tumble instead and it will go out. I believe this will be Danvers' ball. Thrown up to the 30-yard line. Danvers kind of bodies it in. Play the body, trying to use any way possible they can to get back in as we have 30-45 to go in regulation. Takes a tumble for Danvers, and he gets up rather gingerly. He was defended there by Jake Howard. Other Tanner sports news. I believe the women's soccer team here at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School, if I'm not mistaken, are at the moment sitting at either an 8-5 or a 6-5 record. It's been kind of somewhat of a rebuilding year for the Peabody Tanners girls soccer team, but one of high expectations that has relatively lived up to them. This one's booted in, and it will go into the side of the net. Got to get it to the front of the net. Hitting it off the netting on the side doesn't exactly count, as Jake Howard and the Tanner defense will go back out. Wait for something to be set up. As here's Kemp to boot this one deep. As we take a look there at number 22, Nicholas Sablone. He's been one of the many defenders whose names we've called on more than one occasion. Booted deep to Jake Howard, headbutted in. Peabody will get a kick up to the 30. Dallafor will lose the battle with a Danvers defender. Taken there by Kayanga. Trying to move his way around. Gets a man relatively open. Stolen away into the Danvers bench. This will be Peabody ball thrown in, or will be thrown in by Kemp again. Make that Morphus. Long toss. Danvers will kick this one back out. Trying to get it moving upfield. Long toss. Oh, here we got something, but it looks like the Tanners are going to win the race to the ball. That is Tyler Sermon. As the little bit of chirping coming from the Danvers bench. More like instructions being chirped. And I got to agree with what I was hearing. The thing that's been going wrong for the Falcons at the moment is they're not exactly playing too aggressively. They're waiting for the ball to get to them. You got to get to the ball quickly. Show off the endurance a little bit. Try to win the races to the ball rather than just wait for it to get to you. Because in these kinds of wins, that ball could take all different kinds of wacky bounces and moves in midair. As Cunha wins a race to the ball. And he'll boot this one high, not overly deep, but it will go to about the 47-yard line. Fed up for the Tanners. Morphus trying to feed his teammates near the opposing 30-yard line. Jake Howard will Set this one up at the Bull logo at center field. Kayanga goes down. No whistle coming here. As we'll see Sablone. Feeding back to Sermon. Up at center to the 30s. In the middle of the field, and if only we were playing football, that one would count for 3 points, because that one went just clear over the uprights. But in soccer, that is out of play, as the Falcons goalkeeper will go back to boot this one deep, down 2-0 with 26:43 showing in the second half. Pardon me. Danvers trying to play a little bit more aggressively offensively, I'd say, ever since they heard their coaches yelling for them to move a little bit quicker, stop waiting for the passes to get to them. They've kind of stepped it up a little bit. Long tossed in front, here come the Tanners, boots it, Joyce, side, and goal! Joyce's second of the night. Kyle Joyce makes it 3-0 Tanners in the second half. That's his second goal of the afternoon on what has been a very cold and dreary day in Peabody, Massachusetts, but he is brightening the hopes of many fans and teammates, as the Tanners move one kick closer to extending their record to 12-3. And as for the Falcons, they have to be in desperation mode at this point. This is a game where scoring does not exactly come easily. Stolen away, kicked in. Here comes Kayanga again. You can see the angle that Joyce had on the goalkeeper. The goalie was playing a little over aggressively. Instead of trying to shadow Joyce, kind of went out to play the angles. And Joyce got a little back left foot kick in. And that was all she wrote for the Tanners. So 3-0 Peabody, 25:30 to go in the second half, as Danvers will go to send this one in. Kayanga shadowed there. The defense is starting to play a little bit tighter. At this point, I'd say maybe the offense has to play a little bit more aggressively rather than tight defense. You played the tight defense in the first half and it didn't exactly work. You're down they were down 2-0 at the end of the first half. Headbutted in. Howard. So tonight at 7, the Tanners football team will take on Swampscott in Swampscott. I only wonder how many fans are going to make an appearance for that game, as I can only expect the conditions there are probably going to be the same as here. Although I can probably guarantee it's going to be a pretty sizable crowd. As football fans here in New England, they'll go out and watch their football in pretty much any conditions. Rain, sleet, snow, no matter what, could be 100 degrees and they'd be out there watching their beloved Tanners play. At the 40-yard line, the Falcons go. Nice line drive boot. They've got an opportunity here. Got to win the race to the ball, however, and he will not, as Sermon will take it away. Oh, and falling down was Sermon. This ball will go out of play. I think this will be the Tanner ball. Actually, never mind. The way they're setting this one up, it's going to be a corner kick. Oh, corner kicks, you little devil, for the defense. There's one thing I do know about soccer, is these are the opportunities that all teams dread to have to defend. He will not take that kick, and he will. Boot it in, up high. Cunha's down, trying to get it out, and the Tanner defense will. Good play by the defenders. They can do it all. They can play offense, they can pass, they can play defense, they can play in net. Danvers will quickly trying to pass it up to midfield. Stolen away by Howard. Howard up to Santos. Santos trying to get around the defender. Cannot. He would have had a prime offensive opportunity there. This one will go up and out of play, down by the far end zone to the left of your screen. can see the way the rain is really coming down and almost waves the way the wind is coming. See if you can see there on your screen, the wind's coming from left to right. You'd think that might have a bit of an advantage for the Falcons in getting their kicks on net because they'll have the wind at their backs mostly. Thrown in. And butted out by the Falcons. That's still kept in, but goes down. Taking a tumble was Kemp. And they're going to think about making a substitution, but they will not. We're the Danvers Falcons. As our sideline camera operator rushing back and forth, trying to get some really good shots. This game is moving back and forth, so cheers to her for keeping up with and trying to run up and down the sideline. This field is 100 yards, so she's doing 100-yard sprints, ladies and gentlemen. Kick on net, up high. That one went off the crossbar, not of the net, but it went off the crossbar of the field goal post up behind the net. So he doinks it off the crossbar. Thinks about kicking it out. Runs up to the ball, fakes it. He'll go out again. Good left-footed kick. Kicked over. Fisher will shadow it with Joyce. Joyce. Shurta. Then Fisher. Fisher trying to feed it across. Good deflection. Kicked in deep by Kemp again. Center. That's 11 of the Tanners. Meja. Kept in on side in the corner. Those lonely corners fed in front. And the Danvers defense is able to boot this one away. Peabody will look to try to set up another opportunity as if they come back down to set up some kind of rush. Looks like we're going to get another corner kick. Kemp is up high at the 40-yard line, just out of the view of your screen. Kicked out of bounds, and Joyce will wait for another ball. Thrown in. Crowd of defenders. Tanners get it. He got a chance. Kicked on back. Drive! And it went up and over the net. To the goalkeeper with 19:30 to go. So we're halfway through the second half. Game number 15 for the Tanners. Game number 14 for the Falcons. So the Tanners at the moment gaining a measure of revenge on the Falcons athletic program for their defeat, their heartbreaking defeat last week on the gridiron. So their Danvers Falcons football team. Shurta gives over to Fisher. Fisher shadowing number 10 of Danvers. Big crowd of defenders as 10 goes down. Joyce. Long boot. Trying to split through the defenders as he would have had Meja. For that Danvers Peabody football game, myself was on hand on the sideline with Lou Sasomo and Joel Saslaw in the booth. I was on the sideline with first-hand front row seat for what was truly a remarkable gridiron showdown between two very good football programs with a long rivalry history. As these two teams, not only on the football field, but also on the soccer field or any other field of athletics that these two teams put out, the rivalry extends as both towns are just right next to each other. Most of these players probably know a lot of players on the other team, so this is for bragging rights during the offseason. Booted in, and butted by the Tanners. We got a whistle. These players want to look at their friends over the offseason. They want to say, remember that game where we beat you guys? will give the Peabody and Danvers fans that they have in common. They love their sports, and they will show up in good numbers to support them. As here come the Tanners. Fazolo. Fisher will go back down to chase it. Nothing happening there. That one's going to go up and out of play. As I believe this is going to be a Peabody corner kick from Kemp once again. 17-16 showing here in the half. 3-0 Tanners on 2 goals by Kyle Joyce and a goal by Victor Maciel. Toss in, booted, and it will still go through all of those defenders, all what looks like at least 15 of them. This is the shot of the Danvers goaltender. That second goal that he gave up to Maciel, not a goal he really liked to give up. He kind of was shocked with himself there. Stepped up and made the saves when he's had to since. However, he has found himself once again in a deep hole, 3-0. You look at their score sheet, for the most part, I got most of my game stats from maxpreps.com. Not all the stats were complete, but from what I was able to see, 3-0 seems to be the big 3 goals seems to be the big differentiator for the Danvers Falcons. That should show what their defense is capable of. They're capable of keeping their opponents to only just about 3 goals. The problem is their offense has been severely lacking. Coming into this game, they had only 13 goals for on the season, 25 goals allowed. Tanners, however, have tacked on another 3 to their already, I'm guessing has to be a near league high total. They had 52 goals for and 18 goals allowed. Also, the 18 goals allowed has to be a true testament to the skills of Cunha and Will Machado, who gets the day off today. Into the Peabody bench this one goes. So the foundation of something special has been built in Danvers. Just the thing is, they got to think about getting a little bit more offensive attack going. They have the defense and they have the netminders to do it. But just got to get a few goals on the board. Big scrum there for the Tanners. Race at the 20-yard line to get it are the Tanners. As they send it back up midfield. Joyce, the big opportunity, sends another one on net. This one will go a few feet wide and out of play as the goalkeeper go back to retrieve it. Some Massachusetts sports news for you. Obviously, the Boston Red Sox were not a part of the MLB postseason at the moment. The playoff standings are going to be the Yankees and the Houston Astros will play each other in the American League Championship Series. Just across in the Midwest, it's going to be the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the I can't remember who it was at the moment. The Washington Nationals, excuse me. Your Washington Nationals, first time they've ever won a playoff series. First time in their in the NLCS. As this one is booted out of play, and this will be probably another corner kick for the Falcons, just trying to serve it in. Get upfield on the NFL stage, the New England Patriots. Well, I'm sure most of our viewers watching this stream are fans of here in New England, are 6-0. They extended their record 6-0 with a win against the ever-hated New York Giants around here in New England. Obviously, the Giants are the team that beat the Patriots twice in the NFL's biggest stage, the Super Bowl. Final score was 35-14. On the NHL stage, Bruins are now the Boston Bruins, opening the season on the road, 3-1. Long toss ahead. Here come the Tanners. Race down to get it with Mija. And this one's going to go up and out play down by the fence where all the cars are parked with their headlights on, trying to put a little bit more light on the field for their beloved Tanners and Falcons. Bruins come back to Boston tomorrow night. I will be in attendance for that game. So the Bruins are 3-1 on the year. They lost to Colorado 4-2 the other night. They opened the season with wins against Dallas, Arizona, and the Vegas Golden Knights. On their West Coast road swing, they'll come back home. And what is expected to be quite the festive atmosphere, they'll probably drop the Eastern Conference champion banner tomorrow. Probably have a nice ceremonial puck drop. Wouldn't be surprised if you see the great one, Bobby Orr himself, at this game. This one is given up at the 40-yard line. Tanner's playing keep away, just trying to kill off some more of the clock with 12:40 to go in the half. Taken down on the play by number 8 of the Falcons, really starting to play a little bit more aggressive. If there is a characteristic that seems to be shared with most of the Tanner rivalries, it is the physicality. Whenever the Tanners play teams like Salem, Danvers, and Beverly, especially those three, in not just soccer, but in any sport, these games tend to get very physical. That is especially true for the women's hockey team. Usually the main play-by-play announcer for them, as this one's booted in deep, head butted, and it went wide. Oh, if that had went in, that would have been on highlight reels for years to come. Threw his whole body into that one like a torpedo diving out at that ball. As the physicality of these rivalries only intensifies. PBD fans are fans that sure love a good rivalry game, this being one of them. We've already seen numerous throughout the year in all sports, and all the fall sports. PBD Tanner football opened the season against the Salem Witches in football with a convincing 52-0 win, and also they have played the Danvers Falcons in the aforementioned 14-13 loss just last week. They will come back home to play Beverly in a couple weeks. The second to last game of the season, if I'm not mistaken, before the annual Saugus Thanksgiving Day game, as this one will be set up at just inside the 50, between the 50 and 45-yard line by number 3. And once again, can't quite get a gauge on what that is on his arm on our monitor. I'd want to say that looks like saran wrap or a cast of some kind. Actually, now upon closer inspection, it does, in fact, it could possibly be a wrist cast with a plastic bag over it to keep it from getting wet. Well, I guess since he's not going to be using his hands for soccer, he's really at no risk of hurting his wrists anymore. Although one can only ask, how did he end up with the cast on his wrist? Was it from soccer? This one's booted up and out of play. So, folks, this is my first time ever calling a soccer match, and I do encourage you, if you wish to reach out to me and give me feedback, please do. This game's being brought to you live by PBD Access TV, bringing all your local high school sporting events, or just local PBD events. As this one's booted in towards the sideline, kicked out of play by the Tanners, and with 10:01 to go, it'll be Danvers' ball. So we're under 10 to go. 3-0 Peabody. Goals by Joyce and Maciel. Booted in by the Falcons. Immediately booted back out by the Tanners. As trying to kill off a little bit more time. Front of the net. Here come the Falcons. They can't get anything working here. So we'll be booted up to midfield. As the Falcons will get a chance to try to, actually no, this will be Tanner ball. Trying to maybe extend their already growing lead. However, I'm sure they'll be just content to get out of the rain-soaked PBD Tanners Coley Lee Field with a 3-0 win if their goalkeeping holds up. So despite the elements, these teams have come out in force and have played each other hard. Up here comes Fisher. Fisher, good backhand kick around the defender. Shurta. Good defender for the Tanners. Bjorn Shurta. Good midfielder, my mistake. Got to admit, folks, if I had to pick a player whose favorite name on this team, I had to pick that name, Bjorn Shurta. And he has really lived up to the name he was given at birth. He has been one of the best Tanner defenders on the field. Throwing himself all over, everywhere. On the sidelines, at midfield. If you play any sport in New England, you're usually expected to play hard, but play clean, and he has been the embodiment of that personification. This one's thrown in. Back down to get it for the Tanners is Morphus. Kyle Morphus, haven't called his name in quite some time. He has been all over the field, but the Falcons are growing a little bit wiser. They're known to keep the ball away from him, as he is a key to setting up the offensive opportunities for the Tanners along the bench areas. Here comes Danvers. This might have been one of their better chances they've had, as it gets a little bit darker here in Peabody, Massachusetts. 7:19 to go in the second half. Time is winding down on the hopes of Falcons fans who are looking to try to get their season back on track in some form, as this one's booted wide to the net. And the Danvers goalkeeper will go back to get it. One can only wonder how much the rain and chill factor has really had a mental effect on the Danvers Falcons. If it has had an effect on them, it's had the opposite effect or no effect on the Tanners. They've come out and played very good offensively balanced and aggressive defense. Santos just going to boot it on back. Not afraid to take his time, just trying to kill a little bit more of the clock, as we're at 6.5 to go in the regulation period. Danvers bench they go. Taken out of the play was a Danvers defender. I believe it was once again the defensive skills of Sherda. Nope, make that Jake Howard, number 24. As we just hit 6 minutes to go in regulation. This one's booted up and out of play. I believe this will now be Danvers' ball. So I'm sure the Falcons would at this point like to just at least try to tack on one. Go home with their heads held high, which I'm sure they will no matter what, as these are both very storied programs in terms of soccer. Peabody generally fields very good soccer teams every single year, no matter what. In my 4 years at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School, we definitely fielded some very talented teams. This one is sent on net and booted deep by the Danvers goalkeeper, and it is booted almost back the same distance by the Tanner defenders. That was 24 Howard. Kept in along the bench area for Danvers. Long toss, Santos gets around him, has a little bit of a chance, drive, and it went up and over the net. So Edward Santos with another chance, the senior striker, number 30 for the Peabody Tanners. As we'll get a corner kick coming up. This could be the final nail in the coffin if this one takes the right bounce. Kicked in on net, good play. Up in the air, but I believe it will be gotten out. Kept in, nope, big scrum. Tanner comes out with it, over to get it. Drive went off of the body of a Danvers defender, and this one is kicked all the way back down and into the bench areas. So 5 minutes to go exactly in regulation. One can only respect the endurance and the physical skills that it takes to play such a majestic game such as soccer, a game that is so worldwide renowned and worldwide loved. Almost every part of the world is played. It is the national sport of several countries. One can only consider the fact that Peabody, and for the most part, has a very high population of Portuguese and Brazilian families, and one can only remember that it is probably that in those two countries it is the most singular popular sport. Wouldn't be surprised if a lot of players on these two teams really comprise a lot of both teams. As a matter of fact, come from those backgrounds. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Here's Fisher. Danvers trying to get to the front of the net. Booted up high and wide. Won't even go to out of the end zone. It will stay in, as Cunha will come out of his own net to play it. Up around the 40-yard line. Sent back in, and Cunha will go out of his own net to retrieve, and they're going to blow the whistle on this one, say it will be Tanner ball. So we had 3:49 to go in the regulation period. 3-0 Tanners. Goals, 2 goals by Kyle Joyce and Victor Mayseal are the difference here today. As at the moment it is just before 6 o'clock here in Peabody, Massachusetts. Tanners looking to extend to 12-3 and try to move up in the rankings so that they can get a decent playoff spot. Maybe clinch home field advantage for the opening round. This is a team that is very capable of going all the way, folks. They have 11 wins overall in the rankings for the Northeast League. They have more wins than some of the teams ahead of them. It's just the pure factor that some of them have some ties to their record. So by overall point differential, they just happen to be ahead in the standings. But overall, this Tanner team is one of the 2 teams, I believe, leading the league in wins. I think the only team ahead of them in wins is Lynn English, and they have a perfect 13-0 record. See, I do know my soccer, folks. I follow the teams around here. As 10 of Danvers will just short toss it in. 8 kicks it in, hits his own defender, hits his own player in the back. So that ball moves with some speed and drive. What a save by Cunha! Put that one on the highlight reel. Dominic Cunha with the save of his life, diving out to poke this one just wide of the bar. Oh, I wish we had instant replay of that one. In, trying to get a long kick in, but once again, the Danvers Falcons seemingly the biggest fault in their gameplay so far is they're really waiting for the ball. They're not aggressively attacking it. They're waiting for it to get to them, then they'll kick. Got to chase after that ball aggressively. So as we hit a minute and a half, shout out to Costa Prasalis. He's on the bench tonight for the Tanners, not by coach's decision, but for health factor. He is playing with them. He is on the bench with what I'm guessing was a pretty high-grade concussion. Went over and spoke to him as I was getting the game roster beforehand. He took a hit to the head earlier in the season, so he's not going to be playing for tonight. Says he expects to be back in their next matchup, which I believe will actually be against Swampscott, if I'm not mistaken. Danvers trying to get at least one. Booted away by the Tanners as the Danvers offensive rush was he seemed like he was just looking down at the ball trying to maintain possession, didn't see the Tanner defender in front of him, and it was booted away. So we're under a minute to go, 45 seconds left in regulation. Thrown in, just trying to burn off a little bit more of the clock. Maybe Danvers can squeeze in just one, as we'll get a whistle and a player comes up rather gingerly, kind of favoring that right leg a little bit. 25 to go. Tanners on their way to a 12-3 record, and the Falcons about to drop to 2-8-3 on the year. And we get a whistle. And that should be it for the Tanners, as the Peabody Tanners will take the 3-0 victory here at Coley Field in Peabody, Massachusetts, on goals by Kyle Joyce and Victor Mayseal, number 43 and number 50. I'm going to pick my player of the game will definitely be Kyle Joyce, and I'm going to pick not just because I think he has one of the coolest names I've ever heard, but for his solid defensive play all over the field. I'm going to pick Bjorn Sherdha as my second player of the game for the Tanners, number 31. That being said, I am Bernard Parisi with Peabody Access TV. This game being brought to you by the aforementioned Peabody Access TV. That's all from Coley Field for Tanners Boys Soccer. Camera operators like to thank Victoria Shaw, Eduardo Pereira, Alexa Demagus, and Cassandra Sayre for their help today. And that's all from Coley Lee Fields. And I'm Bernard Parisi. We'll see you next time with more Tanner Boys Soccer, brought to you right here by PBD Access TV. Thank you to our technical director, Don Murphy. Our audio and graphics operator, Matt O'Connor, down in the van. They're down in the warm van while we're up here in a not exactly heated booth. And also to our site coordinator, Josiah Bedrosian. Thank you to him. And our producer, Stephen Valenti, one of my bosses here at PBD Access TV. Brought to you by brought to you by PBD Access Telecommunications, all of your local high school sporting events, and other town events such as town hall meetings, school committees, and many more. And we'll see you next time right here on PBD Access TV with more Tanner Soccer. Move to 12-3, and Danvers drops to 2-8-3.